Well, good morning, BookTube. Bill Ruttenberg here with the Ruttenberg Library. I hope everyone is doing very, very well. I have a huge announcement. It's an announcement that's been going on around BookTube for the last couple weeks, really. It is my Nonfiction November 2021 TBR list and what I plan to get read in November for that wonderful, wonderful, great BookTube event of Nonfiction November. Now, this is put together by Olive over at BookOlive, and I'm telling you what, she does a wonderful, wonderful job with this event. It has turned into a huge, huge endeavor, and I just applaud her and thank her for putting this together because, in my opinion, nonfiction's the way to go. It is the best of all of the reading I do. Nonfiction is the best. I love it. And so anyway, I was really excited a couple weeks ago when she put out her call for Nonfiction November, and then I started seeing various videos pop up all over the place. So we're about a week out from November, so I thought maybe I would clue you in on what I am going to be reading. And when Olive does this, she usually has some prompts, and this year there are 4 prompts to go by. Now, I do need to tell you that you do not have to do the prompts. The whole idea is read nonfiction. Just get another nonfiction book out. Read a little bit more than you usually do. And if you never read at all, read one. But if you want to, kind of play along with the prompts and try to adjust your reading to these prompts, that's just more fun with it. So the 4 prompts this year were collection, industry, style, and treatment. And so what I did when I was looking for books to read for Nonfiction November is I have 3 bigger books that I have been reading on this entire month, and I'm not going to be done with them this month. They'll carry into next month. So I'm going to put them in the mix, and then I've got 9 more. So I'm going to have 3 books for each of the prompts. One thing I found last year when I did this, or the last 2 years, in the last 2? No, this is my second year doing it, excuse me. But my first year doing this, I picked too many big books, and I set myself a goal that was unattainable. And so this year, even though I have a big number of books, I am hoping that the size of the books will help me to, get through them. They're books that I've been wanting to read, that I've picked up lately, and that I've had for a while. And I just want to knock them off the list. And Nonfiction November is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for me to say, yep, let's get her done. So let's go ahead and get this started. So the first prompt is collection. And so these different prompts, you can kind of finagle them any way you want to make them fit for your reading. And so for me, I picked out of my Abraham Lincoln collection. And those that follow the channel know that I have a ton of those books. And I have read a good portion of them, but I have not read all of them, especially lately. In the last couple months, I've picked up several new Lincoln volumes. So I picked out 3 books that I wanted to get with and just attack them. And this first one's a very, very thin volume, very slim. This is Abraham Lincoln, Wisdom and Wit. And this is basically a collection of Lincoln wisdom and wit, just different quotes from him, different parts of speeches. And this one is going to be super fast, super simple. I know I can knock this out. So that's my first one, because you can never have enough Abraham Lincoln wisdom. So my next one in the collection prompt, excuse me, is Abraham Lincoln, Slavery and the Civil War, Selected Writings and Speeches. And I was pretty excited. I picked this one up not that long ago. Again, it's a pretty thin volume, but this one's a little bit more intense. Your font is quite a bit smaller. So this one's going to take a little bit more time, a little bit more concentration. But I wanted to get into this because I have recently purchased a few volumes of his selected writings and speeches and stuff like that. And I just wanted to get into them because I tend to put those off to the side in exchange for biographies. And so I didn't want to put it off. So I'm going to go ahead and get that one read. And then one of my last purchases I made was this great big old coffee table book, Abraham Lincoln, His Words in his world. And I like this one because it's got a ton of pictures in there, and you can never go wrong with a book with pictures, but there's a lot of stuff to go with the text. And anyway, wanted to get that one knocked out, and so I put it on the list. So that is the first prompt, collection. I'm going to read those 3 books, and as I said, I should be able to read those pretty quickly. The second prompt was industry. And so for me, the way I did this, I know that several people have mentioned like the clothing industry and stuff like that. For me, I'm going to go with the war industry. And I picked some Civil War books because you guys know I'm a Civil War nut. And so my first one that I picked is one that I am reading on currently, and I may be able to finish this before November. It might be done in October, but I'm guessing it won't be. I've still got a chunk to go, and I've got a lot of books going, so I don't know if I'll be able to. So maybe this gets scratched off the list, but I'm going to start with this. This is The Terrible Swift Sword by Bruce Canton. It is book 2 of his Civil War trilogy. This has been absolutely awesome. It's been phenomenal. I am in the year 1862 right at the moment as far as Civil War timelines, and it is good. He is just a good storyteller. Anybody that is looking for books on the Civil War, you need to pick up Bruce Canton. His writings are older, from the 1950s, but his stuff is just good. He is a good writer, good storyteller. So I'm going to go with that one. My next one for the war industry is Frank Haskell's The Battle of Gettysburg, and this is edited by Bruce Canton. So got another Canton book. This is the story of Bruce Haskell as he went through Gettysburg, and I really wanted to add this one to my list because in my classroom, we watch this video over Gettysburg when we get to that part of the Civil War, when I'm teaching that, and the whole video is narrated by Frank Haskell's diary, and they use that as the narration, and it's really interesting. So when I found this at the used bookstore, I was super excited, had to have it, and now I have to read it because I would love to add this into my Civil War knowledge and my Civil War teaching. And what I think is going to be really neat is, for our PLP at school, as teachers, we got our professional learning plans. We have been integrating in the Iowa, the teaching standards. And the one that we chose this year was content knowledge. And so, you do different things to build your content knowledge, and then you apply it to your classroom and add into lessons or add new lessons, that kind of stuff. And so this is going to play in big with that. And the last one, the third book for industry, is James McPherson's Crossroads of Freedom, Antietam, the battle that changed the course of the Civil War. And I am very excited about this. I don't think that I have read a book on nothing but Antietam. And so for me, this is going to be absolutely fabulous to be able to sit down and read this. And James McPherson, if you need another Civil War author who is top notch, it is James McPherson. Matter of fact, he wrote probably my favorite book on the Civil War, which is Battle Cry for Freedom. It won the Pulitzer Prize in the late 80s. And every time somebody asks for a recommendation on the Civil War, when they comment in the comments field and ask for that, I always go back to James McPherson. And, it was a couple videos ago somebody asked me, and I said James McPherson and Bruce Canton. So those are always my go-tos. And so I'm excited to be able to pick this one up and add to my knowledge in that field. So the third prompt in her Nonfiction November this year is style. Now, style can go in many different directions. For me, I was wanting to look at different styles of leadership. And so all of these books are based on styles of leadership. So the first one is one that I'm doing a buddy read right now, and I am, what am I? 175 pages into the book. It's a fairly good sized book, 500 and some odd altogether. But it's Thomas Jefferson's The Art of Power. I know I will not get this done this month, and this is our buddy read. Me and Peg at the History Shelf and John David are all buddy reading this book, and it is awesome. It reads pretty quick. It is hitting his life. It's very, I can't stress enough that it's very readable. It's very scholarly, but it's readable. And that to me is huge when it comes to nonfiction, because I think that's one of the biggest things that drives people away from nonfiction is the readability. So if you've got a really good author, they can make things available to the public. You know, you can make it interesting and entertaining, because these real lives that I like to read about are better than fiction, because it's the real deal. And I mean, you get some soap operas going. But anyway, Thomas Jefferson, The Art of Power. I'm looking at his style of leadership. He is now in the book. He is heading off to France to be to work with the delegates or the diplomats in France. So the next book that I chose for style, looking at, again, leadership styles, I picked up Stephen Ambrose's Halleck, Lincoln's Chief of Staff. And so I don't always agree with Halleck. I think Halleck, he made things hard. He could have done some big things in the Civil War, but he had a little bit of an ego, and then he would back away from different situations. He wouldn't actually, stand up and take a stand on how to handle stuff. So I'm going to look at Halleck's leadership and his style of leadership. One of the things that I have been trying to do over the last few years in my library is I've been trying to collect all of Stephen Ambrose's books. I like his books. I like his writing. And so I've been trying to read his complete works. And I've been going through book after book. And this was, I believe, the very first book that he put together. This was his doctoral thesis that got turned into a book, I believe. I hope I'm right on that. It was one of his first. I do know that. So I'm real excited to pick that up and read it. And then the last one for style is Eisenhower in Berlin, 1945, The Decision to Halt at the Elbe. So again, looking at leadership styles and looking at decision making. And this is, again, another Stephen Ambrose book. This one's super thin. So there's that. I had actually started this and then I put it down. I didn't get real far. Only got a few pages in just to see what it was like. And I think it's very interesting. So I'm going to read that one for Nonfiction November. So that's the last of the style. And then the last prompt that Olive came up with was treatment. And for me, I'm just going to keep this really basic. This is the treatment for each of these different subjects. The first one that I'm going to pick up here is Frederick Douglass, Prophet of Freedom by David Blight. This is the Pulitzer Prize winner a couple of years ago. Again, I have started this. I'm only a little over 100 pages. 115 pages in. And I'm doing a buddy read on this one. All of us in these buddy reads have like 5, 6, 7 books going. And so we're not concentrating and going real fast at any of these. We're kind of just taking our time and enjoying the reading. And like the John Meacham book, this David Blight book is very, very well written. It is so readable. It is so good. I can't stress enough. Anybody who hasn't read this, go get it. But I know I'm definitely not going to be done with this. I don't think any of us would be done with it. Matter of fact, I got to read a chunk of it today to get caught up in the buddy read. But it's just looking at Frederick Douglass, one of my heroes in American history. He did so much in his life, and it's nice to see a really good treatment of his life being done by David Blight. Highly recommend this one. The next book that I'm picking up for treatment is For Cause and Comrades, Why Men Fought in the Civil War by James McPherson, one of my favorite authors, as I said earlier. And this is just, why'd you fight? Why did you go put your life on the line? And, it's a basic question that you have for any soldier who has went off to war, especially voluntarily. Being drafted is one thing, but when you volunteer to go put your life on the line for for the cause, that's, to me, that puts you on a whole other playing field. when you volunteer to go, and you know the chances of living might be not great. And so I have a lot of respect for that, for people who voluntarily sign up for the military and go serve the cause. But anyway, this is all about the Civil War and why men went off to fight in the Civil War. It's a pretty thin volume, and it says on the back, this is the winner of the 1998 Lincoln Prize. It is just about 200, nope, not quite 200. It is, oh, there's the appendix, 178 pages of text. So it's not going to be a super long endeavor, but I know I'll enjoy it because I love James McPherson. He has never done me wrong. And then the last book is another thin volume. And this is a treatment on that time period right before the Revolution, the period where the colonies get real disruptive. And I chose this one because we are going to be heading into this pretty soon with my 8th grade class. We're really hitting slavery pretty hard right now and looking at slavery and why it was there and what were the different, what was it like to live through the Middle Passage and to be in slavery and that kind of stuff. And we've been looking at some slave accounts of that, and then, just the overall and the triangular trade. So this will be where we're headed pretty soon, in a week or two. And so this is Crisis of Empire, Great Britain and the American Colonies, 1754 to 1783, by I.R. Christie. And so pretty excited about that. Super thin volume, 120 pages. It shouldn't take me any time at all. And again, this is going to be right with what I'm teaching right now. And so I'm hoping that I can learn some new stuff to add into my class. And if you don't know anything about the time period, 1754 is beginnings of the French and Indian War, and 1783 would be the end of the American Revolution. And so it's that revolutionary period and getting the United States started. So very excited. Again, these are a lot of thin volumes, but I got a couple chunky monkeys in there. So it's not total cheating, but it's all going to be stuff that really helps me grow as a history guy, helps me grow as a teacher, and helps me really enjoy Nonfiction November. I picked out some of my favorite authors so that I know I will enjoy it. BookTube, I hope you guys all partake in this event. I think it is just a fabulous event, a great idea that Olive put together. And so I would love to hear what you have for your Nonfiction November. What book are you most excited about? Tell me in the comments section. I'd like to have that conversation with you. So thank you, Olive, for putting this together. Thank you for everybody for watching. And I hope everyone has a great, wonderful weekend. And until next time, happy reading.